Hey everyone, welcome to the Juris Digital YouTube channel. So if you know anything about us, we are a digital marketing company working exclusively for lawyers, focused on getting you more cases. My name's Steve. I've been with the company for quite a long time. Extensive background in especially SEO, but digital marketing in general. And I've made it my life's work to help attorneys and help law firms get more clients. So if you're a lawyer, part of a law firm marketing team, you know how competitive it is out there. The digital landscape is full of law firms and attorneys who are constantly advertising, investing money, putting content online, and trying to get all the cases that you want. So today, we're going to talk about how you can cut through this noise and how you can use a few essential strategies to really make an impact and make a difference on your marketing strategy in general. We're going to talk about a little bit of data, and hopefully you'll be able to take these actionable items, put them to use, and make them work for your firm. So ultimately what we want you to do is stop wasting your marketing budget and start investing in what actually works. Let's start with kind of a recap on the 5 strategies that I believe are essential for your firm's growth moving forward. So first and foremost, I'm a huge proponent of this, but you need to crush local SEO. If you want cases, you need to rank as high as possible in Google Maps, in Google Local, so that people are reaching out directly towards you. I tell my clients all the time, I don't care if nobody ever comes to your website. If they find you on local and they click that call button and you're able to sign that case, that's what we want. So that's really step 1, is crush local SEO. 2, you have to optimize your Google ad spend. You have to know what you're spending on, you have to measure your ROI, and you have to really be on top of things when it comes to your advertising. Number 3 is, it's one of the big buzzwords, you keep hearing it, you need to leverage generative AI. You need to be using it in some fashion. It's going to help your workflow. I don't know if it's an intimidation, but you look at it and you kind of don't really understand, hey, how could I actually use this to help me? How can I make my work more efficient? And how could I use this towards my digital marketing? We're going to go over that, so don't worry. We'll show you some tips there. Next, a really big one for me, it really ties into the local SEO thing too, but you need to be engaging your community. You have to be doing something to start developing your name, your brand, your firm in your community. You don't want to always rely on search. You don't always want to rely on advertising. You want to build a business so that people search you specifically. You're the one they want to come to. And one of the best ways you can do that is by engaging your community. And don't worry, we'll go into quite a bit of detail on how you can do that. Finally, you might think that this is kind of a cop-out, but I promise it's not. We'll explain more about it. You need to get creative. You need to try to think of ways that it might not be marketing at all, but in the long run, it's going to, again, it's going to build your firm's presence. You're going to be able to use some of these creative solutions to generate a referral system that continues to work for you well beyond the start of what you're doing here. All right, so let's start with crushing local SEO. Again, one of my favorite things to do. You really need to dominate in your own backyard. You know who they are. They're national firms. They're coming in. They're setting up basically a ghost office in your backyard, and they're getting cases that you should be getting. And these folks aren't even actually operating in your area. You cannot be losing out to them. So crushing local SEO is a long game. This isn't something that you're going to be able to go make a couple tweaks to your profile, suddenly you're number 1. It's not quite that simple, but you can make headway. And given time, the right energy and effort, you can get your local ranking into the top 3. You might have an agency that works for you, and you can use some of these tips to just kind of make sure that, they're actually going out there, that they're doing things that are making an impact, looking at specifically how you rank for searches. Like, let's just give an example here. If I search for a personal injury lawyer near me, we see what we call our SERP, right? Our search engine results page right here. We'll talk about this in a little bit, but you've got your local service ads at the top. You've got your PPC, and then right here, you're going to go into your local listings. And this is key. Well over half of people are searching on a mobile phone these days. This is popping up on a mobile with a call button right here. So when you show up in this top three, especially on a mobile result, somebody's got that call button right there. They can see how many reviews you have. They can see that you have a good rating. You're going to get more phone calls when you rank in this top three. Okay? That's the bottom line. So it's like it's anything that you search for nowadays. When you're looking to take your family out to dinner, you're looking for restaurants near me, or maybe you're looking at Italian restaurants. So you're putting Italian restaurants in specifically. And then you're using Google Maps. You're using that local search. And the folks that show up higher, the folks that have the better reviews, are the ones that you're more likely to use, right? So if you're not showing up in the top three, if I have to click more businesses to go find you, you're going to be losing out on leads. Period. So understand that 46% of all Google searches, they're for local information. So for law firms, this is critical, right? When somebody is looking and they're doing these high value searches, when I put in personal injury lawyer near me, or I put divorce lawyer, Fort Collins, that's a transactional term. I'm looking to hire somebody right then. You need to be capturing this as much as you possibly can. So what are some things that we can do to make sure that this is happening? You know, some of these are going to be really basic. You've probably heard some of them before, but I'll give you a few other tips also. So first things first, when you're looking at your Google business profile, you want your profile strength to be complete. You know, you want it to be completely filled out. You want to use everything available to you here that you possibly can. If you have a complete Google business profile, you're 75% more likely to attract visits from from a client, right? That's just the reality of the situation. So if you don't have an agency, a marketing agency that you're working with, and you're doing this yourself, this is something that you can really take to the next level. You want to make sure that you've got plenty of photos. You want to make sure that you're consistently adding new photos. You want to make sure that you have reviews. Not only do you want to have reviews, you want to be responding to reviews. Positive, as you can see right here, a 5-star response from the owner, and negative. And of course, you want to be responding to these negative reviews as professionally as possible. Okay? It's unavoidable, especially for attorneys. Sometimes you're going to get pinged with a negative review. You can see that you can maintain a great rating even with some negative reviews. So just go in, respond, be professional, etc. We always encourage our teams to fill out their products. So show us what your firm does and get different cards, get different descriptions here. Fill all of this information out that you possibly can. Post on it on a regular basis. You can see that we're posting consistently for this firm onto their Google business profile. And now, again, this isn't something that's going to suddenly make you rank overnight, but it is something that's going to, all else equal, give you that nudge above some of your competition. One of the big factors going in is getting Google reviews. This is tough. It's something that we wrestle with a lot, but if you come up with a strategy for it, and this strategy is simple, ask your clients. When you have a happy client, ask for the review. When you interact with somebody in the community, ask for that review. Have them go, come up with a system. There are all kinds of things that you can use. There are services. We use a service that will text people and give them a link to the review. So you've got a person in your contact, you send the automatic, hey, thank you, here's a link, leave us a review. Most people have a Google account these days, so you should be able to get in and get that review. Beyond reviews, some of the steps to crushing local SEO are going to come away from this page. You know, one of the things we're going to talk about later is engaging in your community. The more links that you can get from local news organizations, local websites, things like that, the more powerful your local rankings are going to be. Some of the other things that you want to do are you're going to want to put content that's local to your relevant community on your website. So when you're considering your homepage, your practice area pages. So let's say you're a personal injury lawyer, you have a car accidents page, putting a personal story about a client that worked with your firm on that car accident page is going to be really beneficial to your local rankings, okay? It shows that you're a real business in the local area, that you're working with people in the area, and it's a positive signal to Google. And this is something that would be easy to try, right? Have a simple questionnaire. You let somebody know, hey, I want to share your story on a website. You can even make it anonymous, but better if you can use a name or at least a first name, last initial, and just tell a little bit of that story, just a couple of hundred words on that particular page about that person's particular incident, okay? Another thing that you want to make sure that you're doing is linking to your Google business profile on your website. You want to make sure that it's linked properly, it's going to your actual profile in the right city that you want. If you have city pages, so This firm operates in multiple cities. So in their El Paso page, they're linking directly to their El Paso business profile. On their homepage, they're linking to 4 or 5 different cities on their business profile. These are all things that you need to be doing to help ensure that you're going to be getting better local rankings. If you're looking for more on this, don't worry. We've got a guide coming soon that you can download as an ebook that'll help you with your local SEO. And we're going to have more video topics on this, podcast content, all kinds of things to help you optimize your local SEO. In the meantime, let's move on to our next topic, and that is honing or optimizing your Google ad spend, everybody's favorite topic. So obviously there are other ad services that you can be using. I'm talking specifically about Google today because it's the biggest one, it's the primary one, it's what most attorneys are going to be using. It can still be valuable to use Bing ads, to do advertising on Facebook. All of that can be important, but when it comes to online advertising, Google is king. So the biggest problem with this is Google Ads, it can be a huge money pit if you're not careful, right? You can sink tons of money into something and get no results, and that can be really disheartening, and it can make you kind of not believe in advertising at all and redirect your marketing budget to something that might ultimately not be as effective, because when it comes down to it, advertising on Google should provide you with a great return on your investment, okay? So we're going to focus on 2 key players right here. We're going to talk about local service ads, or what everybody calls LSAs for short. And then we're going to talk about pay-per-click, or PPC, which I'm sure that you have heard of. So let's talk a little bit about the difference here. So as you can see, when I search divorce lawyers Fort Collins, I get sponsored content at the top, sponsored content here, and then I get into my local organic and further down my organic search results, right? So the very top here, this is your LSA, or what a lot of folks have come to call Google Screened because of the way that Google presents it. They screen you, verify you, and then present you here. So LSAs are interesting. They're relatively new. They've been going for about 5 years now, but LSAs are unique in that you don't pay every time somebody clicks. You only pay if a lead is generated from this, which sounds great and can be great, but it doesn't always work. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. Below that, we have traditional PPC. So these ads are anytime somebody clicks on this link, you're going to pay a certain amount of money, right? When it comes to personal injury, folks are spending tens of thousands of dollars a month on these ads. It can be a little bit less, but either way, when you're advertising for law firms, no matter what it is, your cost per click is rather expensive. The average across all legal keywords on Google Ads, $8.94 for 1 click. And keep in mind, that's an average. When you go into something like truck accident lawyer in a major market, you're looking at hundreds of dollars for a click. So while a cost per click in the legal industry is extremely expensive, at the same time, the click-through rate, so the percentage of people that actually click on an ad when they search, is low by industry standards, only about 5.3%. This is half of other common industries that advertise on Google. So when you're considering your Google advertising strategy, there's a couple of factors that are important here. So first of all, when it comes especially to PPC advertising, you need somebody who knows what they're doing to be managing your account. I know a lot of smaller firms, solo practitioners, you try to take on a lot. You want to do everything yourself. You kind of learn a little bit about this, a little bit about that. But if you really want to hone in and optimize your ad spend, you need somebody who has experience in your niche. You want them to be able to find some of the keywords that are going to resonate, that are going to get you clicks, not cost a lot, and still generate cases. So understand that if you're just starting out with Google Ads, you'll need some time to ramp up, right? You'll need some time to figure out what are the best keywords, what do I really need to be targeting, what kind of language do I need to be using in my ads, what does my landing page need to look like? So I see all the time attorneys who will set up a quick ad, and then I'll click on it, I'll look at the landing page, and it's not optimized for conversions. And what I mean by that is I want to provide ample opportunity for the person that lands on that page to reach out to me. I want a phone number, an easy click to call, an easy form to fill out. I want a chat option. I want all of that stuff there. If I just go to a page and it's a wall of text, you've already lost out. You're going to have a high bounce rate, just meaning people are going to be clicking the X, they're going to be leaving and going to look elsewhere. When people are clicking that ad, they're ready to buy. They want to reach out to you in the easiest way possible. So if I click your ad and I have schedule a free consultation right there in front of me, big bold button, that's perfect. That's going to be one of the keys to optimizing that ad spend. Another key is going to be pivoting when it's appropriate. So let's talk a little bit about local service ads. On the surface, local service ads, they seem like a really, really great opportunity for a law firm. And let's kind of talk about why. This click study is a couple years old now, it's still relevant, and the data is still close to what we're seeing today. So that's why I'm sharing this graph with you right now, this pie chart. You can see for personal injury lawyer, a click distribution. So when people search for personal injury lawyer, here's where they're clicking, okay? 32% of the time they're clicking that LSA. Only 10% is going to be on that Google ad, and then another 30% on the map pack, the local SEO that we talked about before. So you can see why I harp on that so much. But you can see also why local service ads looks like it's got this great potential. And it does. There are challenges with it though. Showing up in the top of the local service ad is kind of up to Google. We see some patterns, some trends, getting consistent reviews, like recent reviews, can help you show up higher in your local service ads. But ultimately, you may set a max budget for a local service ad and you may not show up and you may not get any clicks. Now, to me, it's still worth it to keep this going. The reason being, you're not paying for anything if you're not getting contacts, right? So if nobody's reaching out to you, you're not paying. No harm, no foul, in other words. I still want to leave that up there. I still want to work on that. And I still want to try everything I can to show up in the first 2 or 3 results here. People do click to show more here. They do go in and look. So it's still valuable, especially if you have a really good profile, good reviews. It can still be really valuable. And you're not spending a ton of money if you're not getting contacts. When it comes to PPC, you need to find a budget that works for you. You need to have somebody who can optimize that campaign, build you those landing pages, build out the ads to get clicks, generate conversions, and somebody who's willing to manage that campaign, to adjust the budget, to change the ads, to try different tests on the landing pages. It's really important that you don't just kind of set it, let it go, and forget about it. That's a recipe for disaster. That's going to lead you down the path of spending way too much money. We'll move on here to the next section, and we're going to talk a little bit about leveraging, but not abusing, generative AI. So I really recommend that you pay for a subscription to whether it's ChatGPT or Google's Gemini. You're looking at 15 or 20 bucks a month. And the more you use it, the more you'll start to get familiar and the more you'll learn about what you can do using generative AI. It's constantly getting smarter. It's constantly evolving. Use Gemini's Pro. I think it's $20 a month. And that gives me access to kind of deeper tools, right? It does research for me. I can link it to a website and have it go review a blog post. I can help find and identify competitors. So just as a quick example today, we want to drive in and show you just one simple way that you can use this, okay? And then we'll follow that up with a couple of interesting statistics, okay? So how can I use this for my law firm? Now, let's say I'm a small family lawyer focusing on divorce and custody cases, and I need some content for my website. Now, I don't think that you should generate all of your content with AI. I think that is one of those things when I talk about abusing AI. It's not going to fly if you just put a bunch of AI-generated content on your website. Maybe it'll even rank initially, but ultimately it's not going to have the impact that you want. Now, using AI to help you come up with topics and then outline those topics, and then you write from those outlines, that's a great solution for it. So let's try a prompt here while I have you here. So let's, I am a family attorney in Colorado. I'm starting a new firm and I'm working on content for my website. So what I'm going to ask is I'm going to ask Gemini to please generate 10 topic ideas for my blog post. And what I'm going to try to do in this prompt is instruct it to focus on a main keyword for each topic and ensure that there is search volume for that. Simply going to put these topics should be based on relevant keywords to my practice areas. And I'm going to say primarily divorce and child custody. So the topic should be based on relevant keywords to my practice areas, and the primary, let's say the primary focus keyword should have let's say it has verifiable search volume. And excuse my spelling. Prompt as simple as that. Now, this is going to work for just a minute. So while this works, I'm going to throw a couple of statistics at you. In 2024, the American Bar Association did a survey, and they found that 31% of legal professionals are personally using generative AI themselves, okay? So to me, that means you've still got time to get in early on this trend. 31%, not even half of legal professionals. So at this point, I would still consider you an early adopter if you're using it, okay? And in that survey, the biggest perceived benefit, it's the most valuable things for you. Saves time, increases efficiency. That's what everybody wants. Over half of the legal professionals who use generative AI said that's the primary reason why. So again, how can you use it without crossing ethical lines? Brainstorming blog post ideas, drafting social media updates, create outlines for a video script. These kind of things are all really important. Ultimately, what you want to do is you want to use AI to spark your creativity and not fake your expertise, right? Your clients are hiring a human lawyer, not a chatbot. So that's when it comes to balance. So let's just take a quick look at this, and then we'll move on to our next topic. So these are actually some really good topics. The Colorado divorce process, this is great. Step-by-step guide, it gives us the main keyword. You can see how this could be useful. Navigating child custody for unmarried parents in Colorado, high asset divorce in Denver, and it's putting the keyword there. Now, just to show you quickly, what I could say is, hey, that's great, Gemini. Can you provide an outline for the first topic you've listed here? I will write the content based off that. So we're going to see it's going to work again really quickly. Well, not always really quickly, but you get the idea. This tool is immensely powerful if you're using it the right way. There's a tendency, especially with folks, my age and older, to kind of think that it's just kind of a novelty. I don't see a real use case for it, but the reality is almost anybody in any profession can and should be using generative AI. And look at this, just a great quick outline that it generated for us. And now I'm able to take this and turn this into content a lot quicker. It would be a lot easier for me than it would be if I were just starting from scratch. Let's move on to another passion of mine, and that's engaging in your community. And at first, this seems very detached from digital marketing, but I would argue that they're very closely related. So the fact is, digital marketing isn't just about what you do online, right? It's about how you connect with your community, your audience, your potential clients. How do you connect with them in the real world and bring that online? You've heard it before. People hire people that they know, people that they like, and people that they trust. That's the bottom line. It's not just a feel-good strategy either. 85% of business owners surveyed believe that community involvement has a positive impact on their company. It's even more important when your business is as local as a law firm, right? So for local businesses like a law firm, the impact, it's even more direct. 88% of searches for local services, they bring a call within the first 24 hours. When you're engaged in your community, you're going to have a positive impact on your overall rankings. Your local rankings are going to be better. You're going to rank better in ChatGPT and other generative AIs, just like I showed you. We see a lot of searches these days where we have an AI summary at the top, and being a reference in there can be incredibly valuable. And one of the best ways to get reference in there is to have mentions online. How do you get mentions online? Engage in your community. One of the best ways possible. Do different events, host different things, use press releases, develop relationships with bloggers, with influencers in your community, with local media, get mentioned, have them link back to you. All of this kind of combines into a great overall strategy that's going to pay dividends, right? There are so many examples that I can give of this. You know what I mean? Are you a huge soccer fan, huge baseball fan? Sponsor a local team, get out there and go to the local diner, have that local team on one of those advertising placemats that they have. Get involved in the community on different levels. Offer sober rides on New Year's Eve. Do a turkey drive on Thanksgiving. There are endless ideas that you could come up with where you're going to help engage in your community, right? Let's look at an example from one of Juris Digital's clients, actually. So I love this one right here. These folks have a whole in the community page developed, and you can see one of the things that they've done, Harley for a hero, and they actually have a way for you to nominate and then vote on different heroes, share the story. I love how it's presented. It looks great. I'm happy to link people from various news sources, from social media to come here. And this is going to ultimately gift somebody in the community with a Harley. This is huge. This is going to connect with everyone that knows about your firm, right? And it's going to help people who don't know about your firm learn about it. I also really like this idea. They have an outstanding teacher contest where they've already done the winners in 2025, but you can see, hey, they had a contest. Who's the top 25 teacher or top teacher in their community? And you can see they've got the winners listed here. Same process. They nominated it. They did the section for nominations. You got to vote. But the key is you can't just put this content up and expect people to find it, right? That's where developing those relationships with local media. And this is simple. I'm going to give you a tip on how you can engage with local media right now. So if you've got a local ABC affiliate, you go to their website, you're going to find contact information for various reporters there. You're going to want to go in and find their social media account. Send them a message on Facebook. Send them a message on LinkedIn. Let them know, hey, I'm a local business owner. I've got a really great thing. I want more people to know about it. I want people to go and vote for this. It's really important to me. You're going to get shares. You're going to get links back to your website. You're going to get community mentions, and you're going to start to gain attention in your community, and it's going to pay dividends. All right. Let's talk about our last section here, and that's getting creative with your approach to marketing. I told you, I know it sounds like, oh, kind of a phone in, but seriously, the more you can do to make self and your firm stand out, the better, right? We all know that law firms and the legal field in general, it can have a reputation for being a bit stuffy, right? But your marketing doesn't have to. Even when it comes to, your traditional advertising, there are things that you can do to kind of make that stand out. So just a few things here I wanted to go over, a few ideas that I could throw out there. Webinars or seminars for professional referrals. This one, it seems a little more difficult than it is. But if you set up a seminar or even a webinar, and let's say you have one for young professionals, you're an estate planning attorney and you want to help people understand that it's important to get started on this process early. So you're looking at kind of a different audience, but by offering some free and valuable information to your community, it goes back to that community thing, but you're putting it out there, you're going to ultimately start to build up a referral business where people are going to come in for the information, they're going to connect the dots, and they're going to say, hey, this is somebody who can help me. Another great example I've heard of this is actually a personal injury attorney who focuses on wrongful death cases, giving seminars to funeral home directors about how they can help make sure that their clients can pay for their services using an injury lawsuit, if applicable. And I've heard really good things about that strategy. Another great idea, ask a lawyer events, right? So you have a lot of knowledge and you have a lot of people who have questions. So it doesn't even matter what kind of lawyer you are, have an event at the local community center where people can come, you're there for an hour and people can ask questions and you can answer them, give them tips, give them some guidance. And obviously, you want to make sure that you stay within the realm of kind of ethics and everything like that. But it is doable and we have seen it done. We have seen it successful. Next thing is put yourself out there. Start a podcast, start a YouTube video or start a YouTube channel and start providing information that's really valuable to people because you're going to become a known quantity. Again, we know that people do business with people that they like and trust. When you do this, it's going to help create that trust. people are going to reach out to you. Your traditional advertising, it doesn't have to be a huge image of you in a suit on a billboard. You can go outside the box. You can use advertising that resonates with people a lot better than that. Again, we want to move away from that stuffiness. So really try to connect with people. And one of the biggest tips I can give you about your traditional advertising is stop making it about yourself. Don't make it about you. Make it about your potential clients. Make the advertising about them. Make them the star of the story in all of the advertising. Finally, try new things. Don't be afraid. Not everything is going to work. You might do a seminar, you might have one featured and nobody comes. Keep trying. Don't just give up because one thing that you tried doesn't work. That's a constant in digital marketing. You have to be ready to evolve, ready to try something, and ready to move to something else if it doesn't work. Okay? So there you have it. That's 5 things that you should be doing in your law firm's digital marketing or your marketing in general, from mastering local search, getting creative with your content. All of these strategies are going to help you connect with your audience and grow your business. Thanks for sticking around to the end. If you found the video helpful, give us a subscribe, look for more content from Juris Digital, check out our podcast, Lawyer Mastermind, and thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.